Drop the gun, lady! Now!
Welcome back to Park Time. Once again, this is October, so we're doing nothing but horror films. I'm Judd.
I'm Ryan.
And in this film, or not this film, in this episode, we are taking a look at the film Stephen King's Sleepwalkers. Sleepwalkers is a 1992 horror film written by Stephen King and stars Brian Krause and Machen Amick. It also features cameos by Mark Hamill, Ron Perlman, Stephen King, and Clive Barker. The movie itself centers around a mother and son pair of feline energy vampires called Sleepwalkers, as well as their need to procure new victims.
So, Stephen King's Sleepwalkers has a very clear-cut plot of what's going on in the movie.
That's true.
Charles, who is asleep... remember, there will be spoilers in our review.
Oh, yeah.
Charles, who is a sleepwalker. And the sleepwalkers are these cat-like beings. I say cat-like, they're not cats,
yeah,
but their appearance is
yeah.
feline-like appearance.
And they're shapeshifters, and they have a lot of powers.
Yeah.
Some of them are not really well explained.
They're not really well explained, and we'll come across that throughout this.
Yeah.
But the scratch of a cat is deadly to a sleepwalker. So
which is weird because they're cat-like people.
Yeah.
I never understood that even when I watched this movie as a kid. But Stephen King, that's his.
So they look kind of cat-like, but yeah, they're dead cats is what their weakness is. So Charles, the plot is that Charles and his mother, who are both sleepwalkers, they've moved from. I think they said they moved from Ohio, but that's not where they moved from. They moved from another town in California.
Yeah, like Bodega Bay.
Bodega Bay.
Or whatever.
And they've moved, and they're... Charles is trying to get a young... They need a young virgin because they suck the life force from virgin girls.
Yeah, they're kind of like...
their powers.
Yeah, kind of like vampires,
Kinda like
only this is more like energy life force, not blood. It's in
and
the
it
form
has
of
to be a virgin.
Yeah, it has to
and
be
it has to be a girl.
Yeah, it has to be a girl.
So Charles is going to use his ways to seduce a woman
his masculine ways.
Because his mother is apparently really famished, I guess. She really needs...
She's really, really hungry, which I imagine they feed at roughly the same time, which that's another thing that I didn't really think about growing up either, is like, why is she so much more, like, when we first enter the characters, it's like she's like starving. Like the only thing she can think of is like food,
That's not the only thing she can think of, but I'll get into that in a minute.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like she's like going crazy that she's so hungry. But I guess he's hungry, but like he doesn't
have the same kind of reaction she does.
Yeah, she goes overboard with it.
But so Charles, it really opens on this scene before the title comes up, and Mark Hamill is in this scene. It's a short scene though.
Yeah.
He doesn't show back up later. He's an officer. It's in Bodega Bay, and they find a corpse of a young girl. She has braces on the teeth of the corpse, but it all looks like, all the life's been sucked out of it.
Yeah, she's like a wrinkled old corpse. But he knew she was young because she has braces, because no adult ever actually gets braces. Of course, this was back in the early 90s. I guess that was relatively true.
It was probably a small corpse, so too. Yeah. But they find the corpse. So we find out that this is a corpse that Charles and his mother did feed on recently before they came here, so I don't know why she's so hungry and he's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't...
Unless he drained more of the corpse than she did, which I don't understand why he would have done that. But,
they didn't explain a lot of things in this movie.
There's a great deal
There's
of
a
stuff.
lot of things that are not explained that probably should have been explained. Not to get down on this movie, but that's just how it is.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
You also see a lot of dead cats at the beginning too, around the house where they've strung them up from trees.
They
and
looked
stuff.
fairly realistic with those dead cats. I don't know if they killed cats. I mean, because this was back in the early '90s. Times were different back then. Okay.
I don't think they killed a bunch of cats in the early '90s, but yeah, it was a fairly realistic dead cat. A lot of dead cats, and because they're allergic to cat, or allergic.
Well, you could call
I guess you could call it a cat
It's
allergy.
a sort of allergen.
Anyway, when it opens with Charles and his mother in the house, later after the credits, she's worried about this cat in the yard, and because the trap misses it, they're trying to trap this cat.
They're like little bear trap, like snap traps.
And her son plays her favorite song for her, and they start dancing. And as they're dancing, I looked at Judd, because Judd's seen this before. I've never seen this movie. I've seen parts of it, I think, because I seem to have seen before some of the facial effects when they look like, when they have human hair, but they have the cat-like faces. I've seen that before, that part before in the cemetery later on. Anyway, he starts dancing with his mom. I've never seen this. And I said, they're awfully close, Judd. I said, I said they can kiss any minute. And he said, that's not all.
Yeah,
that's not all. And I was like, and then just a minute later, they start kissing.
Yeah.
And then he carries her upstairs to their room.
Yeah, their room, and they have sex.
So apparently they have an incestuous mother-son relationship, which was kind of
out of nowhere.
Don't know.
I mean, it's out of the blue. I mean, you don't
expect it.
It's not necessary to the plot, really. I mean,
it's not, and it doesn't. I mean, you don't really know why that happens, why that is.
I mean, it would absolutely change nothing really about the movie.
We could have spent some time explaining some stuff about the Sleepwalkers instead.
Yeah.
But, it's Stephen King, and he's got several kinks, I think, in his writing when it comes to sexuality. So, and when I say his writing, I mean, he wrote the screenplay for this. This was an original. It's not based on one of his books. Anyway, he tells his mom about a girl he wants to see. I mean, it's very straightforward. There's a girl at the movie theater. He's going to go see a movie.
He knows her from class, so he knows she works at the movie theater, so he goes to hit on her at the movie theater. And
he's new to school, so she doesn't really know him yet. But
and Brian Krause, he's a handsome dude, so she's obviously attracted to him, and she's like, well,
she's very pretty.
She's Mädchen Amick's, she's nice looking. So. Yeah, he goes after her. I say goes after her. He goes to the theater to hit on her, and they kind of hit it off, and he's, I don't know, they flirt back and forth, and it then cuts to the, like the classroom scene, I guess, because it further.
Yeah, there's a scene in the class where he reads.
It's a poem he wrote.
Yeah, it's about the Sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
And about his mother and him, really.
Yeah, but obviously nobody knows it's about his mother and him, but like
they think it's fiction.
Yeah.
But Tanya, the girl that he's after, she really likes it, and she speaks up in class about it. And the teacher gets corrected by him.
Yeah.
By Charles and. Sorry, Charles.
Yeah, Charles.
Yeah, he corrects the teacher at some point, and the teacher's not happy about that.
As no teachers ever are. Never blows over well.
The teacher says the box has 4 sides, and he corrects him and says it has 6 sides.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get to him driving his car, which is a blue
Trans
Am, and he's driving it down the road, and the teacher chases him.
Yeah, he does.
Is that what we're coming to?
I'm trying to think like what.
I mean, a lot of the order is him trying to pick up Tanya, and he offers to drive her home after class.
Yeah,
and he does drive her home.
Oh yeah.
And that's where he meets her mom.
Yeah.
And her mom does gravestone rubbings.
And there's a lot of double entendres in the conversation they have about gravestone rubbing and what type of sticks they like to use. And I think there was double entendres there. I mean,
I don't know. There is one that gets used.
By when they're
when they're at the graveyard.
Oh, I expect a lot of. My mom expects a lot of rubbing to go on.
Or he says
like,
he need to be. Or he says he needs to do the rubbings, and she's the one that says.
Oh
she
yeah,
to
yeah.
do, so anyway, he meets her mother. Then he seems very nice and decent during all of this. I do want to express this.
Oh yeah.
And he really legitimately seems to fall in love with the girl, because later when he's talking to his mom, he tells her, does it have to be her? Because he doesn't want to do it to this girl. And of course the mother's jealous about this too, and it comes across. But and I say this because he takes such a dramatic twist from actually having feelings for her.
It's on a dime. It turns to like, oh, I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah,
and, I'm going to. He acts like he enjoys it almost.
I think it should have been done
like a cat playing with its prey.
It shouldn't have been such a switch. It should have been.
Well, I mean, because when he really turns is on their first date. They're in the cemetery doing the gravestone rubbing with the chalk and everything and the paper. And she's taking his pictures, and they're laughing, and they trip, and they roll around, and they're kissing, and even when they're kissing, he seems to be like he's caring about her almost, but like then he starts to take her energy, and it's like I said, it's like a blue energy that comes out of her mouth into his. And
then when she resists, he immediately turns a switch on, and he's like, and it's very so abrupt. I think the whole thing should have been played more subtle to build up to it. But anyway, going back,
it's an out of nowhere turn. I say out of nowhere. Like he doesn't. It would be one thing if he played it like I have to feed to survive. Like I don't want to, but it's just it's how I live. But he doesn't play it like that. It's like he plays it like, hey, I'm gonna feed on you and I enjoy it. You're gonna die and painfully. And. It's like he's almost getting off on tormenting her, almost. It's weird.
Yeah. But, to go back, since we got a little ahead of ourselves, just talking about the teacher. The teacher does, after he meets the mom, we see the teacher chase him down on this road.
Yeah.
The teacher has looked at his records, and he finds that the place in Ohio is fake, and he threatens him, and he wants sexual favors as payment.
Yeah.
And
he actually reaches down to grab his crotch.
Yeah, and Charles grabs his hand and rips his hand off, and then chases the teacher down in the forest and kills him. And the cops never found this teacher. Nothing ever happened from this.
Yeah,
this whole thing with the teacher, this whole side thing with the teacher, little small side plot with the teacher, completely unnecessary, really.
Yeah.
And more time that could have been spent explaining the Sleepwalkers.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but it's really, like you said, it doesn't serve. I mean, I guess it serves. The one thing I guess you could say it serves is it does show. It does show his
killer side.
It shows the killer side, but it's never brought, like once he kills the teacher, there's no mention about it. Well, I mean, he mentions that he kills his teacher to his mom. That's it.
Yeah, that he's worried about it, that the body will be found.
Yeah, but the body's never found, or at least it's never mentioned by the cops. But,
the police are kind of inept in this anyway.
Oh yeah, very inept.
But there's this, he starts speeding down the road at this one part, and this black cop, who I really liked as a character, he has a cat in the car with him.
Yeah,
and
he's
Clovis, and Clovis is important. He chases down Charles, and he tries to chase down Charles. And this scene goes on, but then eventually the officer pulls up right beside Charles, and Charles is laughing because he slowed down to let the officer catch up.
Yeah, and he flicks off the guy, flicks off the officer.
Yeah, and then the cat pops up though, and the cats know what the Sleepwalkers are.
Yeah.
And the cat, and he gets scared as soon as he sees the cat, and his face starts shape shifting and everything. And the officer sees this. Yeah. He gets away from the officer again, and he starts to focus, and he makes himself and his car disappear. And this is like, oh, okay, so they have a power to disappear. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. They didn't have to tell us this. We've seen this. Seeing this is enough to know that, and that's fine. Him having the ability to turn other things invisible isn't really explained, but I can kind of understand it, I
mean,
guess.
he's touching it, and it's,
but
it kind of...
after the officer leaves the scene, and when he isn't able to find him, he comes back to where people can see him, but his car transforms into a red Mustang. This is not. This is one of those things that should have been explained, I think, because that doesn't make. It doesn't make any. It just doesn't kind of make sense, really.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess it helped. Like,
I mean, it's a camouflage technique.
It's a camouflage
and I get
technique, and it served so the cops couldn't really look. They wouldn't be looking for a red Mustang. But the fact is, it's not really touched on that how he transforms such large.
And once it's a red Mustang, it stays that way for a while.
For a while, but like what's so weird is apparently he can shapeshift this car, even not being. Well, I mean, I say not near it. He's in the cemetery scene where he's having his first date. While he's on the date, he It doesn't explain why he does this, but he shapeshifts the car from the Mustang back into the Trans Am, and eventually that's how the cop, the cop who had chased him,
the Black Ops happens upon it.
He happens upon it, but you don't really understand why Charles would shapeshift it, unless his concentration wore off and it reverted to its normal. I mean, it's all like why the whys are completely speculative. I mean, it's not explained.
No.
I mean, it's a plot device to say, oh, the cop was passing by and he happened upon it. That's what caused him to go on the scene. I mean, it's a plot device, but it's a very poorly, implemented or it could have been handled a little bit better.
Like he could have just stayed hidden from the police officer in his blue car and gotten back home in his blue car and just not ever done the Mustang thing at all, because it really...
Yeah, because I mean, once it's the Mustang, he picks up Tanya and she's like, oh, where's your Trans Am? He's like, oh, it's in the shop, and there's no other thing about it. Like, I mean, he pretty much just takes her to the cemetery, and that's where.
So the cemetery is the date scene. Just I want to touch on something here. He was going to go pick her up for this date, and then he was going to drain her and bring her back to his mother. I guess for her to drain her. I don't know how he was going to drain. He was going to drain her, and then his mother was going to do it for energy.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were planning this, but instead of him going to pick her up, she shows up at his house.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother invites her into the house. She is right there. They can do their plan. They can both drain from this girl, and they will have succeeded in what they were planning to do. That doesn't happen.
No.
This is a huge plot hole that really is not explained why they didn't just do it right then and there. There was no reason for the mother to let Charles take the girl off on the date. There was no reason.
It's absolutely true. The only reason,
just for the plot. That's
just
the only
for the
reason.
plot to add time on the movie, because like if you're starving, and it's like you're gonna kill the girl anyway. Okay,
Why?
somebody like her parents are going to come looking for her once she's missing. No matter if she's missing with. First of all,
the earlier you do it, the better.
Yeah, because if she goes missing and they know she's on a date with Charles, they still know it was Charles.
Yeah.
It's like, but you're right. They don't kill her when she's in their home, and it's like they walk past a mirror. Apparently, when they go past mirrors, you
can see their true form, which is a full-on, completely different. I don't think it looks as good as their cat makeup faces do.
Yeah,
but it's a different form, but that you only see a few times. But
the funny thing is, like, he's trying to hide that form because he sees his mom pass a mirror and he's trying to divert Tanya's attention so
Tanya won't see it.
But like, it's all a moot point because like he shapeshifts in front of her anyway to drain her power. It's like if she found out that they were sleepwalkers in their home, they just drain her.
But they should have just done it anyway.
Yeah.
This whole scene, it bothered me really a lot. They go to the cemetery. He's doing rubbings. He goes off and vanishes. She finds him. They start to kiss. He drains her, starts draining her, like he said. She starts to get away. He's showing his true face. This goes on. They fight. Yeah. Eventually, she gets the corkscrew and puts it through his eye and pulls his eye out.
Yeah.
But
doesn't seem to really cause him. I mean, it hurts him a little bit, but like he's cracking jokes, and it's like it doesn't seem to really be painful to him.
This is the point. He's turned that switch on. Now he's just full on evil.
Yeah.
And he is taunting her and everything the whole time. And she gets out to the cars. The police officers arrive.
Yeah.
And
that one cop, just
the
black
one,
cop who chased him.
One police officer.
And because he happened upon the blue Trans Am, he's like, oh, what have we here? So that's why he's there. He's just driving by. And like
she's trying to get the police officer to take her with him, and that telling him that he needs to leave too, but he doesn't listen. Long story short, he ends up getting killed.
Yeah, he gets a pencil stabbed in his ear.
But Clovis is in the car, so Charles can't get Tanya. Clovis stops Charles, and Tanya takes off.
Well, no,
he takes off in the. He's afraid of the cat.
He's afraid. Well,
that's right.
The cat. He doesn't really see the cat until it's too late because the cat sort of hops out of the car just. Right on him.
Gets on him.
And he starts clawing at it.
He gets away from the cat.
He throws the cat down, and Clovis is okay, but Charles jumps in his car and drives off, and goes back to his home and where his mom is. And so the other cops show up. Well, she radios the police on the radio.
She lets
so
the police know.
The other cops come in. They take her in. You know, they get her taken care of, and they take her back to her parents' house. And
take her back to her parents. They're going to go get Charles.
Yeah.
Charles has gotten back to his mom, and he is not looking too good.
No, he's kind of like this death from cats. It's almost like a very slow, painful death. Like he's slowly like getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And she says you have to feed to survive. So apparently, if he absorbs enough energy, I guess it'll heal him. So that technically they could survive a cat scratch. But I guess he would just need a lot of energy.
One thing, too, they mentioned earlier about he thinks that they might be the last sleepwalkers, and she says there's others out there. She can feel it. And it does, like, I don't know if they're looking for more sleepwalkers for a community or what. It doesn't really get touched on.
Yeah, but that's pretty much...
It's briefly touched on.
Yeah, that's the only little bit of other sleepwalkers you hear, or sleepwalker culture or society or whatever. It's like, he's afraid that they're the last two on Earth. And she said she knows there's more. She can feel them. And that's pretty much it.
We don't get a lot about them, which is sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Police go look for him, and they turn invisible.
They break the front door down. Like, literally, it falls down and off its hinges. And she turns herself and Charles, invisible because he's laying on the couch dying. And she just tells him to stay still, and she can concentrate and make them both go invisible.
So then the police leave after that, right?
They break in, they don't see anybody, so they leave. Which, there is one plot hole that I don't understand. All through the movie, we're talking about hordes of cats are camped out in their lawn.
Yeah.
Alright, like a lot of cats. This door comes down. Not one cat goes in there.
That's another good point. Yeah, the cats. Well, another thing about that, though, I mean, the cats don't go after... Sometimes the cats go right for them, sometimes they don't. And this happens at the end, and it bothered me, too.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll get to that. But it may just be the fact that cats just aren't as dependable as dogs are, because dogs should have been the weakness to these cat-like people. But
that actually would have made much more sense, because dogs and cats, you know, as opposed to cats being the weakness to cat-like people. It's
But alas, it was cats, and so yeah, the cats don't go right in and find them because the cats can see them even if they're invisible.
Oh yeah, they cannot cloak through a cat's eye. Like a cat can always see them.
So the cats know they're there, and they don't go in and fight them. And that's another one I didn't think
like
about.
I said, the door is completely open.
I was more bothered by them not killing Tanya when they had the complete open chance to. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then the mother goes to get the girl.
Yeah, Charles's mother goes to Tanya's house to basically get her and take her back to her house so that Charles could feed and survive.
She knocks out Tanya's parents and hurts them. Doesn't kill them.
Yeah, Tanya's parents are still alive.
I say this because at the end of the movie, Tanya has Clovis, and she says, "Now it's just us." We're all like your parents are still alive.
Like, hold on, her parents are still alive.
There's an officer that's staying in the house too, and she knocks him out, and later on kills the officer. But the officer calls 911 at that point, or calls the other policeman at that point, and she stabs him with a corn
cob
in the back.
Corn cob in the back, right on the spine.
Anyway, she beats all the other police that are there. She breaks Ron Perlman's arm.
Yeah, and bites off his fingers.
Yeah, and bites off 3 of his fingers at least, and then takes Tanya back to her house. Tries to get.
Oh, but before that.
Oh yeah.
As she's leaving, she takes. Is it Ron Perlman's gun?
I don't know. It was one of the cops' guns.
It's one of the cops' guns. And, the cops are getting there and surrounding her, and they have probably about 3 cop cars. She shoots the front window out of these cop cars. They explode like they were just rigged with, like, TNT. I mean, like, there's nothing left of this car.
Like, I don't know if this was another Sleepwalker power that they haven't told us about.
It could have been.
What.
Yeah, I mean, they have a habit. This movie does have a habit of, like, just popping stuff on you.
It was pretty dumb.
It's a regular revolver.
Like it's just a gun.
It's just a handgun. And she shoots it, and this car is completely engulfed in flames.
And the other car, too. She does it
she does like 2 or 3 cars.
And the second one sets one of the policemen on fire.
That's right, yeah.
Then she takes Tanya home. Her son's unresponsive.
Yeah.
She makes her son dance with Tanya by, I guess, using her powers to...
some sort of telekinetic, I guess.
Yeah, because she uses telekinetic power to turn the radio on upstairs.
Yeah.
Or radio, whatever it was.
It was like a record player. Yeah.
Turns it on upstairs for the song, and then makes his lifeless body. He's not dead, but he's not dead, moving.
But like he's barely on the brink of death. He's like just clinging to life.
So,
because like as he's dancing with her, after a while she's like, "Okay, now Charles," So he shapeshifts from this mangled form to like his pure form.
Yeah, the final form of them, and
then he starts to drain her life.
And Tanya sticks her thumbs in his eyes to kill him, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool, and he does die.
He dies.
So like when he goes down, like that, what he was doing, that was all the life he had left, and she just finished him off right there.
And the sheriff comes to the house at this point too to help out, and he brings a shotgun inside.
Oh yeah, and he shoots
the mom.
The mom. Actually, there was already a cat on her back.
Yeah, a cat has got on her.
He shoots through her and shoots the cat off her back. It was pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
But she doesn't die.
No, she doesn't die right there. She doesn't show any signs of slowing down, but she did get scratched because it was starting to smoke a little.
And he just throws the gun down to run off with Tanya. He could have tried to shoot her again, or shot her in the head, or any number of things.
He literally takes the shotgun and
he throws it away.
He throws it down.
He runs off.
He runs out.
That also bothered me. So he goes outside. There's all these cats outside while he's trying to help Tanya in the car so they can escape. The mother comes outside, invisible at first because you see the door open and close.
Yeah.
The cats, though, like we've already said, can see that she's there because they can see that. So they could get on her right now, and the yard is full of cats.
They
don't
full
do
of
it.
Cats.
They don't save the sheriff.
No.
Because they're cats. So the sheriff, the mom throws him around. He dies. The sheriff gets killed. She
impales him on
the white picket fence. But Clovis, the cat, saves Tanya.
Clovis jumps out of the car. And is he in the car, I guess?
I don't know if he was in the car or where he was at this point. But Clovis
jumps out of nowhere, jumps on her. He leads the charge. Now, once Clovis gets on this sleepwalker and starts clawing away at her, that's when all the other cats jump on. Like, he led the charge, I guess. Clovis was the only cat that cared, apparently. But, yeah, and all, like, she has so many cats on her. She just this massive fur. And then she starts, like, the scratches start to just spontaneously combust, and she opens up in flames and she burns to death.
And then she pops up at the front of the car in her human form, but there's flames around her.
Yeah, in her human form, and she's burning, and she's like, "My son, you killed my only son." And it's like, oh, okay.
She says something, to Tanya, and then Tanya backs the car up a little bit and hits a tree or something, and then the mother's down on the ground and she's burned, she's dead.
Yeah.
And Tanya is holding Clovis. She's like, "Oh, it's just us now."
It's just us now,
or
Clovis.
Whatever
it's
she
just
says.
us, and it's like, hold on, your parents are still alive.
Yeah.
But just jumping back just a second, the sheriff does get one good shot in. Like we talked about these bear traps that they're trying to kill the cats with.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, like Charles's mom is trying to bust into the cop car, trying to get to Tanya. and he takes this bear trap that's on the end of a chain, by the way, and he lassos it out, and it hits the back of her head, and it like clamps the back of her head, and he's sitting there pulling her back.
That was a great.
It was a pretty
awesome.
good little scene. I enjoyed that one too. That's when she stumbled back and grabbed him, and that's when she impaled him on the fence. But yeah. Anyway, so jumping back, so she's petting the cat, just watching the lady burn him, and that's it.
That's the end of the movie.
You start hearing Enya's Boudica, and
it goes the credits, and
goes the credits.
That's the movie. It's. I don't want. It's not. It's not bad, but it's not.
It could be a lot worse. I mean, there's a lot of.
There's so many plot holes, though. That's my biggest issue with this movie. It's definitely not Stephen King's best work.
No.
I recommend giving it a watch just to see it.
I mean, I think I picked this up for pretty cheap, so.
I mean, you don't have to.
It says Clive Barker
to buy it, but if you get a chance to watch it, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to watch. I'd give it. I can't. I don't feel like I can give it too high of a stars just because of all the things that bothered me. I can't give this 3 stars really. I mean, or I guess somewhere between 2 and 2.5 stars would be mine out of 5, just because there were so many things in the plot that I really felt it kind of fell apart. Like, I mean, they really could have just killed her and taken her life force and left the town really early on in the movie, and there was nothing stopping them from doing it. It made no sense. Yeah. And there was so much they didn't tell us about Sleepwalkers in this movie.
Yeah.
And just...
I mean, I never, like, as a kid, I never really... I didn't catch the plot hole when I was watching it growing up, so it's like I don't... I mean, I would probably give it 2.5. 3 seems a little much, because I've thought about some of the 3-star movies that I've given and that I like more than this. But like, there's no point in this movie where like it feels like a chore to watch.
I enjoy it.
I liked it. Okay,
it's a fun watch. Yeah. It's all right, a fun watch. And like I said, the makeup effects are good.
Oh yeah,
for the when they're in their like part human, part sleepwalker form.
Yeah,
their full sleepwalker form is all right.
Well, the effect is good. Like the work on the detail and everything is good. It's just it doesn't look like it's just the aesthetic doesn't look.
It doesn't look real. Like, yeah. I feel like I wish their half human, half sleepwalker look was their full sleepwalker form. Yeah. Because it looked neat and it looked real.
It looked fairly unique too. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could probably find other monster movies that have a similar look to the face. Well, actually, to be honest with you, looking at this picture, it's almost reminiscent of a Buffy the Vampire form from the Buffy the Vampire series. I mean, it's a little bit more cat-like, but their eyebrows go away and they have the fangs come out, So it's a little bit. If you ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer the series, when they go in their vampire mode, it's a little like that, but only probably a little bit more cat-like. But yeah, the makeup effects were really good. I thought the acting was good. I mean, everyone.
Oh yeah, that was fine.
But like you said, there are. Be forewarned, there are pretty big plot holes, but
I definitely think it's something that could be reworked to be a lot better.
Oh yeah. If they
there are things that could be taken out, like the teacher side plot, and there's no problem with it having a very straight plot. I mean, it had a very straight plot. He wanted to get the girl so that him and his mom could drain her for energy, and that's a simple plot, and it's fine, and it works, and you can have a good beginning, middle, and end with that. But instead, I mean, the whole beginning setup is just seeing where they were before, but we don't actually see them there. We just see the dead girl's corpse being found. And then we don't. I mean, there's just a lot of time was spent on things that time could have been spent on. Yeah. Maybe doing more Sleepwalker lore stuff or something else. Just. Building it up more, and it could have definitely been changed to having him actually go pick the girl up for their date.
Yeah,
to fix that problem with
That
her
would
actually
help.
being in their home.
Yeah, that would have definitely helped. I would say that if you look this up on Rotten Tomatoes or
it's pretty low on Rotten
it's pretty low
Tomatoes.
on Rotten Tomatoes, and
But I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it's as bad as the score would indicate on Rotten Tomatoes. I really don't. Like I said, I've seen other movies that, like, I almost felt offended trying to watch. Like, I mean, not necessarily offended in the content, but like offended, like somebody actually gotten to make something like that. Because I mean, this has entertaining parts. I mean, it's got a couple of funny parts to it. I mean, it's not a comedy.
It's entertaining. It's not
entertaining.
it's not bad, but
it doesn't feel like a chore to watch it. So I mean, but I would say check it out. I mean, I wouldn't recommend people just run out and buy it. But,
but
I mean,
if you get a chance to watch it,
if you get a chance, if it ever pops up on Hulu or Netflix or something like that, or I mean, I think I paid about $5 for this.
or if it's on,
I mean,
sometimes you can find movies on YouTube that are
Yeah.
just up there. So if you find it to watch and you're curious, I mean, if you're a fan of Stephen King and you want to see what this was about, just check it out.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching. This has been Part Time, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon for the next horror movie.
Anything to say?
You're mistaken.
Oh, no, I'm not. But you are, Charles. If you think you can wiggle out of this. I don't know who you are, but I know you're not who you say you are.
If this is blackmail, Mr. Fallis, I think you picked the wrong guy. This car is the only expensive thing I've gotten, and I'm kind of sentimental about it. I don't think I can sell it.
Ow! Still, I'm through with you. Your generation is so mercenary, Charles. Money this, money that. Well, money is not the only medium of exchange.
You're right, Mr. Fallis. People really should learn to keep their hands to themselves. Here's yours.